Okay. We're going to work on cosine law. I mean, I gave it away what we're going to use. Usually you want to try to figure out which law to use. Cosine law, sometimes they'll write it in many different ways. I'm going to write a generic version that looks like this. If you're a general equation, c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared minus 2ab cos c. And that means angle c. Sometimes they'll do the exact same thing, but they'll like switch this up with c. So it becomes 2cb cos a. There's another version that looks like this. I'm trying to fill it all in as I go here, sorry. Which is a squared plus c squared minus 2ac cos b. But to be honest, you don't need to memorize all these three different versions. It's actually a lot easier just, in case you do have to memorize a formula, just memorize one version. And just make sure you're always looking for, you rename a triangle, just always be looking for either side C, which I just highlighted, or angle C. You can always rename a triangle any letters you want, right? So if we take a look at this triangle that we're working with on the side, we have K, J, and L. It doesn't really correspond to our cosine law, so I'm just going to rename them. And in this equation, they want to know J. Side J, no problem. Let's just call that C. That's going to be side C, which makes this angle C. And then the other two are less important. If this is A, that's side A. If this is angle B, that's side B. Okay? So now that we've renamed it, and I go back and rewrite this equation, A squared plus B squared, it's a lot of just substituting. Because we've set this up very well, I can plug in the letter J if I want for C. Here we go, J squared. Still called C squared. It makes no difference. We'll just put that in because we're doing some substitution, right? So that's the J. Okay, that was for here. Side B was 11.3 and side A happened to be 7.7. So that's 7.7 squared plus 11.3 squared. I should give myself more room. Minus 2 times 7.7 times 11.3, and then cos, what is that angle? That angle happens to be 108, okay? So that was just a lot of plugging in and substituting, and I can move things over so I'm not so squished. I should have done that in the first place. The trick with cosine law, as we go through it, I'm going to leave this as squared. We'll work this all out on a calculator in a minute, okay, is this piece here, okay? That's a multiplication, and then there's a subtraction sign. So we actually want to figure out what cos 108 is and what this is when multiplied together. We got to use some BEDNAS. This is all together because it's technically multiplied. Sometimes students will make the error of getting this value, adding it to this value, and then subtracting this value. That's actually wrong. You have to make sure you multiply by cos first before you get into this subtraction. It's just like a little BEDMAS rule, okay? And that can be something students commonly make a mistake on. I'll rewrite it again. And then to be honest, if you have a calculator that gives you the lines, like you can see everything you write in one shot, which I'm about to get here, you can really just write this in with a calculator. Here we go. So I got decimal scientific calculator. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite this question right now. 7.7 squared plus 11.3 squared minus 2, I'll put brackets for times, 7.7, 11.3, and then here, cos 108. And right away on this, literally just gave me an answer. It says it's 240.7 approximately. So I'll go back over. And 240.7, we'll swipe over so you can see it. Okay, I've written it in. The very last step here is just to find the square root because this is squared. And to get j by itself, I would just need to have square root of 204.7. I mean, we've been working with radicals, so you could say, hey, this is the root of 240.7. But they did give us decimals here, so I guess they're probably okay with us rounding. So we can jump back to this calculator. I can do two things. One of them, I can start at the beginning again and just put a square root. Oh, I thought I could get it all in there. Let's see, Control X. There we go. I just put it into a square root. Another thing I could have done I could have done that. And then I could have gone to a new line and said square root the... Is there an answer function? Oh, maybe there's not. There it is, ANS. That usually stands for the previous answer. And see how they just plugged the previous answer in for us? We got the exact same value, 15.5 approximately. So now we can kind of write that in. It's also equal to 15.5. Not equal, I guess, approximately equal to 15.5. And that's cosine law. It's a lot of plug and play. You just got to make sure you know when to use cosine law. That's all.
So you know how you wrote a bunch of different